Hello, familia. Welcome to the fourth episode of HBSA Alumni Spotlight. I'm your host, Adrian Rodriguez. Without further ado, I want to welcome to my guest, Edward Carrizales.
Hey guys, hey Kooks, how's it going? Thank you, Adrian, for having me. Super excited to be here today, and hopefully you guys learn a little bit about me and my path and my career, and happy to help with anything.
Edward, I want to say thank you. Welcome. I want to say thank you so much to be on this podcast.
No, it's a privilege, man. Adrian, kudos to you, man, for getting this going and executing on this alumni spotlight. I have seen a couple of your episodes, and pretty cool to learn about different alumni, and that were in our shoes back in the day over there at Bowers. So super excited.
Awesome. Edward, right off the bat, first question: where are you now?
That's a good question, Adrian. Right now, I'm actually working for Amity Bank, Science Bank Corporation, actually, and I'm a systems analyst there. I am also an assistant vice president for enterprise operations group that handles a lot of the loans that the front office, the bankers, kind of go out there and get from different businesses. So I've been there for 3 years now. Amazing organization, and I love what I do. I deal with a lot with systems, with applications, with data, doing data analytics, finding strategies on how to capitalize on profits for the organization, on clients. So amazing industry, and that's where I've been doing for the last 3 years, and hopefully for a couple more years.
Awesome. That's great to hear that word. Next question. What were the challenges and obstacles you went through during your time at college? Also, what are 3 attributes that help you throughout your college journey?
No, man, that I love that question. I mean, I think a lot of people face challenges and obstacles going to the university, right? Especially, I'm a first generation college student, which obviously means that I'm the first in my family to graduate from high school and actually attend a college. And there were a lot of challenges and obstacles for me. I mean, we could probably talk hours and hours of different challenges and obstacles that were thrown my way. But I mean, one of the key things on my end is that I actually, I was just blessed enough to get to have an opportunity to go to college. So right off the bat, when I graduated from high school, I went to my parents and I'm like, hey, I want to go to college. And they told me straight up, right? I mean, both of my parents love them to death. They're hardworking individuals, but we just didn't have the money to go, they didn't have the money to provide me for an education. And, that was one of the biggest challenges, just getting to college for me, and my senior year, knowing that my parents couldn't really help me from a financial standpoint, that's where I got, that's where I started working in high school, applying for different scholarships, finding a way of going to a university. And I was lucky enough and blessed enough to receive some scholarships to attend Texas A&M University. So my first stop wasn't the University of Houston. It was actually in College Station. And man, it was a huge culture shock when I went to Texas A&M. I went to HISD high school where 90% of the population were Hispanic, or African American. And when I went to A&M, it was nothing but, it was just a huge difference. And I felt super out of place. It made it difficult for me my first couple of semesters there. And I just didn't feel at home. And that was really hard for me to kind of adjust to that. So 2 years in there, I decided to make the transfer, and I thought I was making the worst decision of my life by going to University of Houston. And to be honest, it was just a blessing in disguise, because at the University of Houston, I kind of flourished into the individual that I am today. And not only that, but also through different organizations like HBSA, that kind of gave me the skills and the confidence to be this individual. But even there, at the University of Houston, I was still a first generation college student, right? I still had to help my family pay for bills. I did have scholarships, but I mean, scholarships are only good to pay for school, right? And there's a little bit of money left over, but I mean, you also have to, I had to pay for gas. I had to eat. I had to help my family with bills, So So it was hard, right? I was a full-time student, but I was also working part-time on the end, trying to make ends eat and make ends meet, and pay for the bills and help the family. So, that was some of the obstacles that I went through there. Now, not only that, but also kind of through the education side, right? I mean, I like to say that I wasn't the smartest person in the room. A lot of individuals just kind of assumed that I was just super smart because I was excelling right in my education. But to be honest with you, uh, what people didn't see was just the long hours that I had to put, in the library, at my, at work, whenever I had a chance to study, in my car, or wherever I could to get some study hours in. And that's what really kind of helped me with my education side, some of the classes and some of that stuff, right? I mean, just kind of getting those things done. um, and to answer what are the three attributes that help you throughout your college journey? I think being persistent, not giving up, and really having a why. For me, that kind of for me, having a why was I doing this, right? Why was I putting myself through these hours? Why was I sacrificing this, where I could have just gone and worked for a full-time, work full-time and not care about my education? But the why for me is really important. And for me, it was my family, right? Being the first one in my family to graduate, kind of being a role model for a younger brother that I have, right? And being a younger model for those individuals that I interacted with me, just being the why for me was really important. And I always tell everyone that I meet, right, why are you doing this, right? And everyone is going to have a different why. I mean, it could be for your family, it could be for yourself because you want to be a better individual. uh, Everyone has a different why, and for me that was really important. And it really motivated me to kind of see my journey, through college, through and graduating. So, having your why, being persistent, you know, you- you're a young adult, right? When you go to college, and life's going to hit you hard. I mean, from different angles, and you just have to be persistent, right? There's things that are going to knock you down, but I mean, this, it's how you get up and how you respond to that kind of makes you that individual that you are, and it's really grooming you for life after college. So that's a little bit of my obstacles and challenges. Like I said, I could go on and on forever, but I mean, that's some of the things that I went through my college career.
That's great. I definitely agree on you on both the culture shock. And when you mentioned into same thing. When I went to like U of H, where I live, I mean, it's like people look like me. I remember the first couple of days, especially the first day of school at U of H as a freshman, and just like wow, it was just mind blowing, just seeing like different people, um, different cultures and different language speaking. And just like wow, yeah, it was a big culture shock for me. But
Yeah.
also, yeah, also was a great opportunity just like interact with people, learn different people, like learn where they come from. Also, like you think about it, I mean, you think about U of H, that's the future of America, especially in corporate America as well.
No, I agree with you, Adrian. I think, U of H, it's really good on diversity. If I'm not mistaken, we've always been, University of Houston has always been ranked like in the high, either top five, top two, on being diverse. And you're right. I mean, when you go into the workforce, there's still a little bit of a culture shock, and we could talk about this later. But ultimately, down the road, working with diverse set of teams is always important. So, kudos to the University of Houston, and in just what they're doing there at the University of Houston is just amazing to have that big diverse set of group.
Definitely, I agree on that. Next questions. There's a lot of lessons, lot of lessons. You know, regardless we come to in the workplace or it can be anything. But looking back to your time at U of H, the question is, what were the lessons you learned from your time at U of H?
Oh man, there was a lot. I mean, like I said, right in the previous question, I transferred from Texas A&M to University of Houston, and when I went to University of Houston, I was still this shy individual, not really doing much, and I really went out of my comfort zone, at the University of Houston to kind of get involved. My first thing is that I actually transferred to the College of Technology when I joined the University of Houston. But one day I was just walking through Bauer, and I think it was during rush week. And I was like, man, this is a pretty cool college. And you look at all these things that they're doing, the different groups. It seems like they're having fun. Um, And I decided, you know what, let me look at what majors the Bauer College of Business had, and at the time I was doing computer information systems through the College of Technology, and something similar was the management information systems degree from Bauer. And I'm like, all right, let me make the transfer over, and then I participated during the rush week. That's where I met. That's where I kind of first learned about HBSA. And I'm like, man, this is pretty cool, because I had no idea what a resume was. I had no idea what interviewing skills were. I had no idea how to talk to a recruiter. None of that. I was just like, man, I'm just going to go to college and get a degree. But there's a lot of things that come after that degree, right? Like finding a job and all that. So I think being able to join these organizations, especially the Hispanic Business Student Association, really helped me from that front, right? And kind of helped me develop as a leader and my business skills. From forging a resume to kind of going through the interviewing, going through the interviews through the different companies. It really kind of grew me right to the individual that I wanted to be, and there was a lot of lessons learned from that. I mean, just getting a resume, started. I mean, for me, it was hard. The good thing is that I had some job experience and I could put something on paper. But I mean, my resume, the first time that I took it to like a resume review, I mean, it got nothing but red marks all over it just because it was nowhere close to being a good resume. But it took me time to learn through that, and then also the interviews. I mean, when I was at the University of Houston, when I was trying to find an internship, one of the cool things that I learned from a mentor at the time was like, hey, just apply to all the positions you think you want, and then if you get an interview, then just go through the interview. And I kid you not, my sophomore year, well, the first year that I transferred from A&M and I was at Bauer, or that second semester, I apologize, that second semester, I just started applying for internships, right? I mean, let me see what this is all about. And I had like 8 interviews lined up, and I kid you not, 7 out of those interviews, I bombed them. I had no idea what was going on, but each interview, I used it as a stepping stone for the next interview. So my first interview was a complete fail. I mean, I was super nervous and didn't know what I was doing. But by the end of the 8 interview, I mean, I was really experienced enough. And this was with one of the big 4 accounting firms, being an intern there. And that last interview, I really nailed it. But it took that persistence. It took that kind of, that rejection from all the first 7 ones in order to kind of land the 8th one. And that really helped me, right, from that standpoint. I mean, some other lessons learned from my time at the University of Houston, the friendships that you make right there, I mean, are just they're just super valuable. I mean, I had, through HBSA, I was able to meet a lot of individuals, and I probably don't keep in touch with all of them, but with the close group that I do still keep in touch, I mean, they're some of my great friends, some of the great individuals that I could reach out to. And that really kind of helped me in my networking later down the road as well. But I mean, I love the University of Houston. I love what the University of Houston stands for. And there's been a lot of lessons learned from the University of Houston. And I still continue learning from the University of Houston. I mean, I'm still active as an alumni with different organizations there. And it's just something that keeps giving. I mean, obviously, you have to spend the time and you have to give it back to it as well. Because if not, I mean, you're not going to get anything from it. But if you spend the time and you take the time to kind of meet the people, learn about it, see what opportunities there are, I mean, you could gain a lot from the University of Houston.
Definitely agree. Especially we mentioned about it's important as alumni to give back. And yeah, I seen it as an alumni director. Yeah, I seen like alumni like giving back and help out. When I graduated from U of H, as an alumni, when I got free time, definitely want to give back, and help any way, shape, or form. Whether it's be UHSA Alumni Association or an HBSA or any other orgs out there.
No, yeah, I agree with you, Adrian. I mean, just giving back, it goes a long way, and that's something that I hope to see with a lot of newly graduates, right? I mean, to give back to University of Houston, or not just the University of Houston, but just give back in general, right? I mean, it's a special feeling. I know why I do it, and I'm pretty sure if everyone took the time, we can make definitely this world a better place.
Definitely agree with you, Edward. Next question. Have you ever had a mentor throughout your college and professional career? And what role did they play in you growing as a person and in your career?
Yeah, no, this is a very important question, and it's something that I really like to speak to. Of, I mean, yeah, I mean, I definitely had a couple mentors along the way, and you know, this is one of the things that I learned early on at the University of Houston, right? I mean, just reaching out to individuals, networking, getting out of my comfort zone. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't really good at it, and it took me a couple of semesters, a couple of years to really kind of get used to meeting new people and getting to kind of build a relationship. Now, I mean, fast forward to now, I mean, now I could say that I can meet up, I could just go up to anyone and just talk to them and kind of build a relationship and continue that relationship, even if we have nothing in common, right? But it took me some years to get to this level. Now, I really do think that mentors are super important. I had, I was lucky enough to have a mentor during my years at the University of Houston. A good friend of mine that, I mean, I consider her a good friend of mine now to this day. I consider her like family now. Was Dalia Pineda. She used to work at Bauer for the MBA program. And she actually hired me for my first part-time job when I was a student there working part-time. I remember I said that I used to work part-time after going full-time as a full-time student. And she gave me an opportunity to kind of work for them part-time there at the MBA, going through applications, getting paperwork done, and kind of just filing. And but it from there it kind of grew, right? It kind of grew. She was we always kept in touch, and she always helped me kind of develop to the individual that I am today. Was it through classes, mentoring to kind of finding a job, mentoring just about life in general, just things, that were going to help me down the road. So I'm definitely fortunate to having her in my corner, and not even only through college, but even now, every time I need help with anything, if it's like a job career opportunity or a leadership opportunity that comes up, I always like to call her and kind of get her input, or kind of, go out to lunch and kind of catch up and keep up this relationship. So yeah, and not only through there, I mean, even now outside of now that I'm in my professional career, I mean, I have a long, not a long list. I have a short list of people that I can always count to kind of call and get some feedback, but maintaining those relationships is really key, I like to say. But it just depends, right? It just depends on the individual. For me, when I build a relationship, I really like to see it as family, right? Because I keep up with my family, right? Like the HBSA family. Like, I know you guys always keep up with each other, but for me, when when I meet someone and potentially see if it's a good fit for a mentor, if they are, I like to treat them like family. So it makes it easier for me to kind of keep a conversation, keep you know kind of keep up with them wherever we go, or talk to them every 3, 4, 6 months, or wherever we can. And that's really helped me in kind of maintaining those relationships. Now, I am going to tell you this: not every person that you meet is going to be a mentor. Uh, it has to be the right fit in order for that mentorship to kind of grow, right? I mean, there's been individuals that I've met that aren't really a good fit for either I or them, and they potentially don't work. But I mean, I'll always keep them there in my network and kind of reach out to them if I have to for whatever reason. But those mentorships that really work, I mean, you'll know when they work, and you always have to be open to kind of finding those mentorship opportunities. I think the most recent mentor that I met, I actually met him through the HBSA Alumni panel. Both him and I were on the panel, and I think a lot of you individuals know him. That's John Garcia, and I think I met him like 2, 3 years ago, and he said, "Hey, if anybody wants to have lunch with me, here's my business card, and let me know." And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna reach out to him. So at that time, I was kind of I was the president of the UH Hispanic Alumni Association, and at the time, we were barely starting. We were barely starting off as an organization. And I'm like, hey, let me reach out to John. I want to have lunch with him. I kind of want to share my vision of what I think the organization should look like. And that's exactly what I did. You know, I picked up the phone, called him like, hey, can you go have lunch with me? And from that lunch, I mean, this beautiful mentorship, you know, kind of formed from there. It's been 2 years now, but I consider him like family, and I'm sure he considers me as family. And you know, there's a lot of I could always go to him for any advice, career advice, professional advice. And I think we were just talking before we got on the podcast, Adrian. You know that we recently came back from a trip from the Final Four, and I had the opportunity to go with him to two NCAA tournaments, the 2019 one and the most recent one, 2020, got canceled because of COVID. But you know, that relationship kind of built out of just me reaching out to them. So, you know, just some quick advice. I mean, don't be afraid to reach out to anyone in your network. Don't be afraid to kind of initiate that discussion, and you'll know if it's a right fit or not, just from the type of meetings that you guys are having when you guys meet up. But I really do think that mentors are really important in just in general in life.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I know you mentioned John Garcia. I know he was on the Alumni panel earlier this month. He mentioned like get all type of mentors, um, like a life mentor or spiritual mentor, professional mentor. Like get any mentor in areas you want to like help and focus on.
Yeah, no, though yeah, he's told, yeah, you're right about that. I mean, I know that he has a couple mentors that he looks up to, and you're right. I mean, it's the same with me. I mean, I could say that I have a life mentor, I have a spiritual mentor, I have a career mentor, right? I'm in banking, so you know, maybe some of my other mentors that are in banking are probably not the best fit to give me like career advice in banking, but they could potentially give me career advice on where I want my career to go. But if it's specific to a certain industry or specific to a certain topic, then that's when it helps to kind of get a mentor for each different aspect in life. And I completely agree with that.
Next question. I know in the beginning we just talking about where you work at and the industry you're working in banking. So the question is, what helped you realize to pursue the career you are in now, and when did you realize it?
Yeah, no. I always knew I wanted a career that had to do something with technology. I just knew I was good at technology. I was that individual in high school that you would call to kind of either you know, download music or kind of fix a computer or just anything related to tech, right? I was always that individual that people would kind of call. And early on, I wanted to do something with computers. So when I went to A&M, I was actually doing computer engineering, but I really didn't like that profession. So when I came to University of Houston, I was doing computer information systems, and that kind of aligned some with what I like to do. But then when I went to Bauer, I did management information systems. And to be honest, that was the best decision I could make, because I like to say that I got the best of both worlds from my MIS degree. And what I mean by that is that the MIS degree kind of focuses on the tech side. So we do a little bit of coding, a little bit of application, IT infrastructure, you know, all those things that you need to know from the back end on the tech side. But you also get the business side of things, right? I mean, you get a bachelor's in business administration. So that's where your accounting, your marketing, your finance, all your other business skills from. So because of that degree, you know, I wanted to do something in technology. And I think we alluded earlier that I had an opportunity to intern with Deloitte doing advisory services. And then I had an opportunity to intern with BP. And just as a side note, I know we talked about this, but, you know, make sure you guys intern. I mean, anybody looking for a position, if you're a sophomore, freshman, I mean, you guys are in the best position to get internships left and right, just because you're early on in your career. And I never thought I was going to get an internship when I was a sophomore, but I did, right? And that gave me the opportunity to get an internship when I was a junior. And I had the opportunity to look at two companies. And the reason I'm telling you this is because when I went to Deloitte, I mean, it had a great company culture, but I didn't like what I was doing. So at the end of the year, they gave me a full-time offer, but I declined it, right? But I still had BP for my junior year. Now I went to BP, didn't like the company culture, and really didn't really like what I was doing there. So at the end of the year, they offered me a full-time job offer, and I declined it as well. And I was like, man, I don't know if that was the best decision ever. But I went into my senior year not really having a full-time offer when I graduated, and I started working with this small business company. And what I mean by small business, it was literally only 4 people in the office, 3 full-time employees, the owner of the company, a sales associate that we had, and then myself. And then the husband's owner used to do the accounting part, but he wasn't really a full-time employee. He would just come in and out. And I was working there part-time during my senior year. And at the same time, I was still interviewing for full-time jobs. But I really liked the position that I had with a small business. And one of the reasons why I really liked it was because I really got a background into running a business. And what I mean by that is that because it was so small, I would wear a different hat each day, right? One day I was doing my role, which was kind of being like a business analyst. The other day I was like a commercial analyst. The other day I was like a marketing analyst. The other day I was answering phones in the front desk, sometimes doing some accounting. So I did something different each day, right? And I really liked that. So my senior year, I did get other offers, but then this small business, I told them that I was graduating, and they gave me a full-time offer to join them full-time. So, worked there for 5 years doing a lot of tech stuff. We were essentially, would like to say consulting work. We did a lot of work for federal, state, and local agencies like the FBI, the Department of Defense, Homeland Security, your state and local agencies like the DPS, that kind of stuff. And we kind of did a lot of IT infrastructure. So we would go into meetings and kind of give them a presentation on why their IT infrastructure sucked and why they needed to go with our, new infrastructure and all this. So it was a huge learning curve, and it was pretty cool. I did that for 5 years. But then there comes a time when you're working for a small business that is like, there's not really that many promotions or because literally you could put whatever title you want for working for a small business. You could say that you're the director of IT. You could say you're the IT manager. They weren't really checking because it was a small business and we knew what we had to do. But, 5 years into my career, I'm like, all right, well, I think now is the time to make a jump to another organization or start my own business. And that's exactly what I did, where I started looking for other opportunities after my 5th year there. And then that's where, I found Amegy. Amegy came knocking on the door. It's funny when I joined Amegy because, I was coming in as a business analyst and there wasn't really a job description. All they knew is that they needed someone with my skill set, tech side, business side, able to interpret what, the technology folks were doing to the business folks and vice versa and all that. So it essentially reminded me of my old position, right? Not knowing what I was going to be doing, but I really fell in love with that position because it introduced me to the world of data and data analytics. And I kind of go back to my MIS degree because with MIS degree, you kind of get a holistic view of all the different careers you can get with MIS. And this is like another little piece of the MIS degree. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not really experienced in data analytics, but I know the basics, right, to kind of speak with them. And I flourished there. And now, fast forward now, been promoted a couple of times through Amegy, and kind of doing data analytics. But when I say promoted, there's a lot of things that go into that word promoted, right? When you start working, when you graduate and you go to the real world, everything changes, right? You're working full time now, you're getting paid, right? And now you're competing with individuals that come in with you at the same time, right? It makes it a lot harder. Well, it doesn't make it harder, but you always have to be conscious of what you're doing in the workplace in terms of performing, making sure that you're involved in opportunities that kind of have high visibility from different managers, different higher ups, and at the same time that you're doing networking. So one of the key things that I've been doing when I joined Amegy is that I started networking, right? I started reaching out to the CEO. I started reaching out to my manager, to their manager. I started networking a lot within inside the company. just to get an idea, right? And this is the cool thing about coming in as a new employee, as an intern. You can ask questions to anybody at any time, and you're never going to be told no. So really take advantage of that. Take advantage of networking within your company. Take advantage of sending an email to the CEO. I mean, you'll know right away if they respond back to you, or you have a meeting, if that's the right company that you want to work for, right? I mean, if the CEO responds back to you like, hey, yeah, let's set up a 30-minute, let me I want to get to know you, then you know you're in the right company, because they care about their people. And to be honest with you, at Amity, that's what I've been doing the last 3 years. And you know, it has gotten me a lot of high visibility within the organization. That I can email the CEO and have a meeting with them, Steve Stevens at Amity Bank, or other individuals, and kind of get a meeting going on, right? But that's the kind of environment that I work for at Amity Bank. And I really like that. And you're able to notice that if you have those internships, if you have those opportunities, you're able to tell, you know, this is the right company you want to work for. And then at the same time, I mean, you always have to be ready. You always have to be ready to, whenever they call your name or they ask you to participate in a project, you always want to be ready. And what I mean by that is that you want to show those individuals that you know what you're talking about, and that those opportunities need to come to you more often. But if you're not ready for that opportunity, you're not ready for that report or to put on that project, then it could definitely look bad on you, right? So you always want to stand ready, because I'll kid you not, opportunities don't come that often to individuals, and when they do, you just have to be ready to execute. So I know I went a little bit off topic, but I mean, that's how I realized that I wanted a career in kind of computers, technology. And then I really realized that at a young age, right in high school. And the cool thing about technology is that it doesn't matter if it's the banking industry, it doesn't matter if it's government, it doesn't matter that it's oil and gas, it doesn't matter that it's retail. Everyone needs technology. And that's one of the reasons why I went with an MIS degree.
That was awesome. Great to hear. That works. Next question. If you could have given yourself any piece of advice to yourself, what would it be?
I think two things. Don't be afraid to fail, and have fun, right? I think I think as college students, right, or at least for me in my shoes, I was always afraid to fail, right? I'm like, man, I got scholarships, I have to maintain a GPA, I have my family that I have to worry about, helping my family. So I was always afraid to fail, right? And in my maybe it limited me from other opportunities, but I was always worrying about what if I can, or what if I can do this, or what if I fail, and I wasn't really having that much fun, right? I was still having fun here and there, but I really wish that my younger self could have had a little bit more fun and be a little bit stress free, just because it's nice to enjoy it, right? It's nice to enjoy the ride. I mean, with the different events that you guys have, just enjoying the college journey, right? Because you only get it once in a lifetime, right? I mean, you're only that age for a while, right? Or you're only in college for those couple of years. So that's some piece of advice that I would offer, to anybody, to myself when I was younger. Just kind of have fun, and don't be afraid to fail. And I mean, and if you do fail, I mean, just get up and continue doing what you're doing, being persistent, and just seeing that light at the end of the tunnel, because it's always there.
You agree? If I give any piece of advice to myself, I'll say just don't, like you said, don't have that fear of failure, and just take chances and opportunities. If it's available to you, take advantage of it. If it make it better yourself, or it's just a internship for something offer you're interested, go for it. And during your time in college, I do think about this often. Make the best of it. This is a one-time thing. We don't know how many years. Be 4 years, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6 years. Well, I don't know how many years it'll be in college to graduate, but yeah, just it's a one-time experience. So make the best of it if you can.
Yeah, no, I agree with you with that, Adrian, and you're right. I mean, take that opportunity. Don't be afraid to try something. I mean, if you're thinking of running for an officer position, do it. If you're thinking of going to studying abroad for a semester, do it. I mean, just if those opportunities come in, just take them, because you never know if those are going to happen again. So you're right, Adrian. I agree with you as well.
Next question. What was your involvement with HBSA?
So I think I talked a little bit about it. I mean, I joined. I think the first semester after I transferred from A&M, and yeah, I joined as just as a member. I wanted to give it a try. I'm like, let me see what this organization is about. Maybe it's not a good fit for me, but right off the bat, I just kind of loved the organization, loved the environment, loved that everyone was kind of welcoming me in, made friends, because that's what I was looking for, right? Because as a new transfer student and as a commuter, I really didn't have that, right? And I kind of felt outside looking in, and per se, my involvement with HBSA started as a member, and then I ran for corporate relations director. I think the second year or my second or third semester there, and it was a competitive race. There was a lot of individuals that were running for corporate relations. At one point, I'm like, man, I thought no one was going to run for this position, and I was going to get it, but it was competitive. And at the end, I was the corporate relations director, I think for fall of 2012, if I'm not mistaken. And that was during the time where there was only one corporate relations director. And I really liked that position. I mean, that kind of took me out of my shyness as well, because even during that time I was a little bit shy, and it helped me reaching out to recruiters, because I mean, corporate relations director, they kind of set up at the time, they kind of set up the corporate workshops. They were always talking to the corporate recruiters from different companies, and how could we bring other companies in. So it was a pretty nice it was a pretty good time, being corporate relations director, just because it helped me a lot from a development standpoint. And one of the things that I really liked about that position is that I was helping students or members kind of find a job, right? I kind of made it a deal. I made it an effort, because at that time I had already gotten an internship. I already had a full-time offer. So I really made it an effort to kind of focus on individuals that didn't have a full-time job or didn't have an internship, and help them kind of go through my journey and say, hey, this is what I did, trying to find a job. This is where you apply. This is what you do in the interview, research, all this. So I really like that position, because I was helping other individuals. And I think that's just second nature to me. I just like to help individuals kind of succeed, right? And that was my involvement there. And then after I graduated, I kind of I always come back and give back time, right? I'm always on some alumni panels. There's certain years where I like to be a mentor. It just depends on my other stuff that I'm busy with. But I've always tried to stay in touch with HBSA and be involved wherever I can and help out wherever I can.
That's awesome. That's great. No, Edward, next question. This is the hardest question I want to ask you. and Max must have the same thing as well. What was your favorite HBSA memory? I know there's a lot to pick one.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot. I mean, there's a lot of memories with HBSA, from tailgates to events to just setting up, tearing down. I mean, there's a lot of great memories. I think the best memory for me was being part of the board back in fall 2012. I think that was probably the best memory that I have. Just my board that I joined with. We really came close during that semester. And you could probably allude to this, Adrian. You come together as, I think it was 12 or 14 members. I can't remember how many, but you really come together for that semester. I mean, you see them almost every day of the week, right? I mean, for events, for meetings. It's a pretty cool feeling to be part of that HBSA, leadership board, and it just brings a lot of memories. Out of that board, I have some close individuals that I still stay in touch with. I mean, there's some close individuals that have been part of the board of the Hispanic Alumni Association, and I've been able to reach out to them because I have those fun memories with HBSA where I can just pick up the phone and call them, and I know they're going to answer or kind of assist me or get involved. And just being part of that board, I mean, the relationships that you build during that time are just amazing. And it really it really helps you from a leadership perspective, right? I mean, being part of these organizations, you don't get paid to it. I mean, you volunteer your time and your sweat and your tears, but I really, I really know that it really helps you down the road. I mean, if it wasn't for the board or for me being corporate relations director, I don't know if I would be here today, right? Because I learned so much from different individuals, and just being confident in myself, it really helped me, with that.
Yeah, I agree with you about you have like favorite HBC memory. I mean, if somebody asked me like what's your like favorite HBC memory for this semester, yeah, just the officer board, and especially being like on officer retreat, getting you like bonding and connecting and
Yeah.
learning more from other fellow officers. Just like along the semester, it's just that started like realizing, man, these could be like your lifelong friends. And then, even though when you go to college, everybody go on to different lives, but still that connection and bonding still there. And you hit them up when you get free time, like you go hang out or do different activities or do anything.
Yeah, no. The officer board is always, it's amazing. So if for any member that's thinking of running, I mean, it's a great opportunity. I definitely suggest to being part of the officer board, or just getting involved. I mean, it's a good opportunity and once in a lifetime opportunity. So go for it.
All right, Edward, last question. What is your message to the members?
No, I mean this is a good one. I mean, I think I could go on and just talk forever, but I think my message overall is that, just being where you're at today, and everyone has different obstacles, everyone has had different challenges to get where they're at today, and everyone's dealing with different things. We just don't know, right? I mean, uh, just being where you're at today, just know that that's a huge accomplishment, right? And whatever you do after this, it's really going to be up to you. You can finish college, you can graduate, you can look for a career. uh, you could be a role model to someone else kind of looking at you. There's a lot of things that you can do, and just being in this position of being in college, if you're a first generation college student, if you're the second in your family, third in your family, but just being here today, just know that that means a lot to a lot of individuals, and that you should be happy for that, right? Because not a lot of individuals get this opportunity that you get. So don't throw this opportunity to waste, or don't let it get away from you. I mean, if you need help with anything, reach out. If there's things that are out of your control, just focus on what you can control and make the best out of it. I mean, as I alluded to earlier, I had a lot of challenges and obstacles, and I'm not gonna kid, right? There was times where I just want to throw in the towel and just, man, why am I doing this, and so on and so on. But I'm happy I didn't, right? Because now I can look. I graduated back in 2013, and it's been 8 years, and just the places that I've been, and just the things that I've been able to achieve with my degree, and my persistence and my grit. I mean, it sometimes, I talk to my wife, right? I talk to my wife, and I just sit down and I just look at the sky, right? And I look and I'm like, man, I'm super blessed to have this opportunity to be here today, right? Blessed with opportunities, blessed with networking, blessed with the individuals that I've been able to meet. Sometimes it's just surreal to me, but you know, it takes a lot of hard work to get there, and it's not easy, and it just keeps getting harder and harder and harder. I mean, after you graduate, uh, I'm sorry, but it's not going to get easier, right? It just gets harder, right? I mean, it's a new thing that you have to learn about working, how to market yourself, how to be better if you're trying to, climb the corporate ladder per se. If you want a career in an industry, depending on where you want to go, right? I mean, it just gets harder and harder, and the older that you get, it just gonna keeps getting harder and harder. But it just depends on what you want, because there's a lot of opportunities out there. From going to an industry, going to a different career, working full time, working part time, starting your own business, working for a nonprofit. There's a lot of things out there, but you really have to kind of pinpoint what you want to do and making sure that you work hard for it. So, just have fun along the process, enjoy it, work hard, and there's a lot of things out there. I mean, if you guys want to reach out to me, feel free. Adrian, feel free to share my information. Add me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Send me a message, whatever you guys want to talk about, something different. I'm an open book. Happy to talk further about my career, what I've done wrong, right, what's worked for me, what hasn't, books, different things. Just happy to help out wherever I can, and just happy to see where HBSA is at now.
That's a great message to the members. And, first of all, just thank you so much for being on the fourth episode of HBSA Alumni Spotlight. And that's it. Thank you so much. Take on your free time and your busy schedule to do this.
No, thanks, Adrian. I really appreciate it, man, and happy to help out. So go Cougs.
Go Cougs all the way. Hopefully next year, champions.
Hey, we will. I have a good outlook for the next couple of years, so champions is on my list. So hopefully we can get there.
Definitely. That's all, folks. That's all for me. Thanks so much.